The Ministry of Financial Services today hosted a seminar for financial services stockholders in the private sector at the British Colonial Hilton. The seminar is being held in conjunction with the African, Caribbean and Pacific Multilateral System on the General Agreement on Trade and Services as the Bahamas progresses toward becoming a member of the World Trade Organization, WTO. Minister of Financial Services Ryan Pinder says as the country pursues membership, there are a few things that should be monitored.
We must be mindful that we not be placed in a position that we are then carved out of those markets because of discriminatory practices of other jurisdictions. That is the risk, especially the financial services industry, that we face. Becoming a part of what they call the club provides security of investment for businesses based in the Bahamas and better levels the playing field for participation in the international trading regime. Membership provides access for the Bahamas service providers to markets of the 157 WTO and EPA member countries. Such security will also contribute to the expansion and the growth of the Bahamian economy, resulting in job creation, career development, and increased investment opportunities.
Chairman of the Bahamas Trade Commission, Philip Galanis, meantime, gave this feedback on the process of accession to the WTO.
We are not being forced to join, but rather we must negotiate the terms of our entry. It is noteworthy that today, as in 1995, we have limited trade in goods, such as non-reciprocal trade agreements, which provided preferential access to our primary trading partners, the United States and Europe. These preferences existed for more than a generation, and today are all being phased out as they contravene the rules of WTO and its fundamental principles.
Latin America remains a prospect for a bigger chunk of tourism business. Minister of Financial Services Ryan Pinder notes the vast benefits, which will also impact the current high unemployment rate in Grand Bahama. Janaea Noel Ferguson has that story.
Hot off the heels of a promotional tour to Brazil and Panama, Minister of Financial Services Ryan Pinder says the potential is great for a partnership with the South American countries. He says this option can only yield significant benefits for the country.
Similar to London and Europe, Panama is the gateway to many countries in Latin America. Countries, given the resources of the government, we're not able to go to every country, even though we see real promise throughout Latin America. We see Panama as that access to other countries and other markets in Latin America, and especially in financial services. So we're going to look to work towards partnerships between the regulators becoming recognized jurisdictions in both countries so we can have free use of our products in financial services through Panama and throughout Latin America.
But Mr. Pinder said that when opportunities like this one comes along, timing is everything.
You can't allow introductions to just go away. Once you see an opportunity, as a government, it's your obligation to pursue it in a very timely and expeditious manner to really develop future opportunities for Bahamians. So we're actively involved in that.
He explained to participants that Latin America can look at the Bahamas as a trade hub for poultry production and ethanol rather than domestic production. This, he says, can result in tremendous employment opportunities for islands like Grand Bahama that have high unemployment rates.
And that could provide a number of employment opportunities in Grand Bahama. We spoke to one of the largest ethanol producers in Brazil. And they have such a high consumption of ethanol, they need to look to go for export markets to really generate in other jurisdictions. I propose, again, Grand Bahama because of the container port that's there, the closeness to Andros. You may be able to utilize the land to even grow the sugarcane. Now, their estimates were 3,000 to 4,000 jobs that can come out of that one initiative. So we're actively looking to see if our soil quality is good enough to meet the standards to grow the sugarcane and all the technical components to be able to say the Bahamas is a good access point for North America. But the opportunities are very great. You have to be very aggressive, and you have to do your homework and be able to present the opportunities. Gone are the days where people say, let's just go to the Bahamas to do business. The reality of situations in the global environment, you have to go out and get the business.
Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS News Network.
Executives of Commonwealth Bank presented officials of Junior Achievement Bahamas with a $100,000 check on the occasion of the establishment of the Junior Investment Fund. Bank President Ian Jennings is hoping that the funds will go a long way in the future development of the program.
The established fund of $100,000 will provide junior achievement companies not just with loan funding, but also teach the students how to plan to borrow and repay loans. With the pressing problems in our society today, our commitment to community has never been more.
While accepting the funds on behalf of JA was Chairman Raymond Winder, who noted the program's business development focus.
Today we enter a new chapter, the chapter of leveraging equity with debt financing. This $100,000 would be used by those companies who would like to leverage what they have raised by way of equity funding to be able to maximize their potential through offering services or selling products. One of the most important things we want them to recognize in this program is that there is a relationship between debt financing and equity financing. And that relationship is, before they can pay dividend on behalf of their equity funding, they must first understand the importance of meeting their commitments and obligation to their debt financing. And that ought to be paid or dealt with first before dividends for equity funding.
Employment opportunities for disabled persons in the Bahamas are few and far between. But while the subject of this next story may consider himself lucky for snagging an opportunity, his employers say they're the lucky ones, as LaDawn Davis tells us.
And he's learning more new skills and getting new experience.
That's 17-year-old deaf student Kyle Dean using a sign language interpreter to tell us about his 4-month employment experience at the Apex Awards Company on Mont Royal Avenue. Although he has only been employed for a short time, Kyle did not let his disability deter him from performing exceptionally well on the job. His manager and supervisor Tanya Gibson and Dion Newman say Kyle is a good graphic artist and an asset to their business.
When we first took him on as a summer student, we was wondering how we was going to go about trying to communicate with him, but it hasn't been a challenge at all. We worked through it, and it's doing well. When we first took him on as a summer student, we was wondering how we was going to go about trying to communicate with him, but it hasn't been a challenge at all. We worked through it, and it's doing well.
Kyle's co-worker, Frances Jasmine, says working with Kyle these past few months gave him a different perspective on persons living with disabilities.
There's no reason personally why a deaf person or any disabled person should not even be given a chance to enter the work field, honest, because, I mean, he's just like anybody. You know, we don't even, many days coming to work, you don't even consider Kyle to be deaf or anything. He's just like one of us.
Vice Principal of the Center for the Deaf, Sonia Roll, says Kyle is among 6 other graduating students that were dispatched to a number of agencies. And while encouraging other corporate businesses not to shy away from hiring disabled persons, Roll says she is grateful that Apex was able to give Kyle this opportunity to sharpen his graphic skills.
We always did business with Apex from time to time, that is bringing in this small little business because we have a small school. We came to Apex. And I sat down one day and I said, we didn't know we were going to place Kyle for his job training. And we said, I'll try Apex. I didn't know Miss Gibson, but I called her one day and she agreed, right away.
Now, officials from the Center of the Deaf have decided to offer sign language classes free of charge to all of Kyle's co-workers. Those sessions are expected to take place sometime tonight. LaDawn Davis for the ZNS News Network.
Hundreds of young people gathered today at the Center for the Performing Arts to see the Hope to Co-production, which is a part of National Youth Month activities. Director of Youth Darren Turnquest says the idea was to help youngsters understand conflict resolution.
Put this production together, they would have seen drama on domestic violence, they would have seen a drama on prostitution, they would have seen a drama on rape, they would have seen a drama, actually a song about walking away with a video presentation on what it is to walk away from crime.
Now, Hope to co-producer Tues Davis says the production was also to encourage young people who are down and out.
Offer them. We just don't have to keep telling them about the problem. They know it's a problem. Y'all know it's a problem. But we need to give them a solution. So it's really just to help to give them encouragement, let them know somebody cares and that someone is willing to help you get from where you are and move a little higher. Because a lot of it is not their fault.
Now, the production has gotten good reviews. Apparently, viewers were inspired by what they saw.
I learned that you shouldn't really mess with older guys and stay in your age bracket, if anything, because that can lead to a very destructive life.
How to walk away from violence. And the program helps a lot. It puts a lot of things in perspective.
I learned how to walk away from violence and resolve conflict and how to do the right thing.
Well, the Assemblies of Brethren has ordained 5 men to the office of deacon. During a packed service held yesterday at the East Street Gospel Chapel, Carl Gardner, Charles McCartney, William McCartney II, Nathan Higgs, and Philip Swan received their charge from Senior Pastor Tom Roberts before being installed. Well, it's time now for a check of your weather. We turn it over to Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Hello, Basil.
Hi, Keisha. Well, it was a pretty nice day around the islands today, but we still have 2 areas that we're looking at. For all the details on them, you stay tuned. It's coming up later in the newscast.
Stay tuned. There's more news to go.